Humphrey of Hope's House Christian Ministries. I'd like to welcome you to our men's VIP conversation. The VIP conversation is a space where men are injecting men, and even women, with a dose of vision, inspiration, and purpose. Why, you ask? Well, the reason is simple. I know you have a big God-sized dream, a big God-sized vision, things you want to accomplish so you can impact the world around you. I also know that you have big opposition, big obstacles, big challenges ahead of you as you pursue those dreams. So we created this space to help you overcome the effects of procrastination, stagnation, and even intimidation of accomplishing that dream that's right before you, that's in your sight. So listen, we've assembled some great people, some great men who have experiences, backgrounds, and challenges they've overcame to pursue their dream as well. So I want you to pull up a chair, sit back, relax, and lean in and listen to these men as they share their vision, inspiration, and purpose with you. Let's get to it. Brother, man, cool brother. My name is James David Shanks on a call with me today, and we're gonna just chop it up. You know, we've been knowing each other for several years. The church, family, the whole thing. We just lives be overlapping.
Man.
and actually, as you were talking, Dave, I'll be forgetting some stuff, man.
Right.
I can't say we've been to wars together. We've been
Yes, we have. Yeah, we have.
Together.
Yeah, we have.
But
Yeah.
I'm to have you, man. I know you're busy in Chicago doing your thing, so maybe just introduce yourself. I ain't gonna give you a resume. I want you to kind of say what you're doing, what your position is, and where you at right now in life. And how's it going, man?
Everything is great, man. I'm in Chicago right now, and I'm working as a showrunner, executive producer, and writer on an AMC series, limited series called 61st Street. It's a social justice piece that I think people are really going to dig. It's going to really spark some conversation. It stars Courtney B. Vance, an amazing actor, Ajanou Ellis. She and Courtney most recently were on Lovecraft Country, the HBO joint, critically acclaimed. I think Ajanou got an Emmy nomination for her work, on that. I moved to LA to act. The funny thing about it, we were just talking about it. You tell God what you want to do or what you think you want to do, He'll laugh, and then He'll say, "Hey, this is what I need you to do." Yeah. And we were talking, Pastor Chuck, about affirmation, and this will be real quick, but it all ties in. I moved my family to LA to act, but I have a daily affirmation, and my daily affirmation is, by God's grace and mercy, I am writing, producing, directing, and acting in award-winning, critically acclaimed film and television projects that yield me an annual high six-figure salary so that I may do your will and continue to provide for my family consistently.
Wow.
Wow. And it's on a loop, in my head. And what I try to do is, again, be real specific about what I'm asking God for, so that, there's no confusion about what the goal is. And when we wake up in the morning and we put the feet on the floor and we get ready to head out, it's always with that, thing in mind. I've worked as a writer. I worked on 7 Seconds for Netflix, with Regina King, Shots Fired with Reggie and Gina Bythewood. I wrote on season 2 of The Chi, where I served as a co-producer. Had an opportunity to come back to Chicago. Born and raised in Chicago. I'm a Southside kid, and I'm just really fortunate and blessed to be operating in the space that I'm in right now. And it's only because of God that I'm here and I'm doing what I'm doing right now. I know a lot of cats would kill somebody to have the opportunity to do what I'm doing. So I don't take it for granted at all. And I'm just really happy and fortunate, to be here and happy to share whatever I can, with any of the brothers out there, because I am a walking, living testament to if I can do it, anybody can do it. That's the way I feel. I really feel like that. If I can do it and move in some spaces and change some things in your life, if I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah, it's funny you say it that way, because oftentimes we see somebody in a position like on a hit TV show or behind the scenes on some crazy thing, big time, popular event or production, and we're like, man, that cat's balling. He's doing great things. I could never do that or whatever. And I think the thing that struck me, what you said, if I could do it, anybody can do it. You know yourself. You know your life. You know your ups and downs.
Yeah.
You know the times you probably threw in the towel twice.
Yeah.
And still, God said, I'm gonna put you right here.
Yep.
I don't want to say in spite of you, but sometimes in spite.
In spite of me.
Okay.
Yeah, in spite of me. Yeah. I've been my own worst enemy on many occasions. But here's what I know. I think, God not only he inspires, but he's also corrected me. And he's also humbled me. And he's also been there with me through some really dark seasons and some times where I was just super uncertain about where I was going and what I was doing. I made a decision, Pastor Chuck. I don't know when you remember. So Pastor Chuck came to, I went back to I went to grad school. I made the decision to go to grad school. And when I tell y'all, I didn't have a pot or a window to pay for grad school or any of that. Show you how messed up it was. In order to go to grad school, you got to take the grad school course, the GRE, the GMAT, GR. Yeah. I forget the test you have to take to, in order to get into grad school. And I enrolled in one of the prep classes, for, the test, and, just had a horrible score. It was laughable, but God was like, nah, man, this is what I need you to do. Don't worry about that. Okay. And the interview portion came for my grad school program. And when I was accepted into the program, in spite of the horrible score, on the test, I knew at that point that God's hand was in this, and that there was nothing that anybody could do, not even me, to sort of stand, in the way of what was going to happen. All I had to do was step into that space and step into it for real, and do it. And he saw me through, the whole time. I mean, 2 hours to get from the Valley over to USC, on the bus and 2 trains, and this was every day. And at the end of it, Pastor Chuck was right there at my graduation.
Wait, I saw the graduation. I didn't know all the other stuff was going on.
Yeah, man.
You did that.
We only had the one car, bro. So I had to leave the car with Tiff and the kids, and I took the bus, man, from the Valley to SC. And like I said, and then part of the program is I had to do internships. So I was 45, doing getting coffee and going to get lunches, and when I tell you, it's just really about humbling yourself, because for me, I wanted the knowledge and I wanted the information, and I didn't care. I didn't trip that my coworkers were as old as my oldest son. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
And again, and I'm the dude, PC. I'm not computer savvy like that. I mean, I'm dropping calls, and but I was always the dude. I was the first one there, and I was the last one to leave every day, and nobody, would outwork me. That was like the thing that I was determined to be that guy. And one of the executives that I was working for when I was interning at HBO, he was like, look, man, what is it that you really want to do? And I explained to him, I recited to him the affirmation that I just recited to you. And he said, look, man, he said, all of that is possible. You know, you just keep doing what you're doing, and opportunity is going to find you. And when it finds you, man, you know, just be ready, you know, and step into it. And don't worry about how old you are, and don't worry about feeling like you're not qualified. And then I remembered, you know, it's a sermon you've preached, it's a sermon Pastor Dre has preached. You know, God calls the unqualified, and then he qualifies them. You know, he in fact, that's his thing. He's going to take the person that's not supposed to be there, you know, and make them, you know, the vessel through which, you know, he can do, you know, what he's doing. So I've always understood that, you know, or at least where I am now, I understand that, and I walk in that, and I trust it, you know. So yeah, man, it's been an amazing journey. I went from working at Crate and Barrel in the stock room, you know, and just, you know, here's where you, just as a man, this is where, you know, you really have to sort of take stock and inventory of like where you are in your life. I was able to get my oldest son a job in the stock room with me, and it occurred to me that I probably made maybe 30 cents an hour more than he did. Here's the thing. It's like you say to yourself, and you don't want to make it, you know, about money, because I think as long as a man gets up and, you know, he, you know, earns his pay, and he ain't out here robbing and stealing and doing all of that, you know, all work I think is honorable. Yes. But when you got responsibilities and obligations, and you need to be able to take care, you know, of your family, you sort of look at yourself when you like, man, my oldest son is working right next to me. What did I do wrong, you know, in my life and in my walk to end up in this space? Ooh, man. You know, and it was in that moment, Pastor Chuck, that I was like, I gotta do something different. And this is what I want to challenge all of the brothers that'll watch this, or if you don't take anything else away from this conversation, everything starts with a choice, right? Once you decide that this is what it's going to be, that's what it is. Step into that, right? And only you will know, and really be the one to say to yourself, because you can't BS yourself. You probably BS everybody, and even your family to a degree, but you can't fool and fake stuff with yourself. So once you really get to a place where you like, my life has got to change, right. And at that point, it then becomes, now I need to do what I need to do to make the changes, right? I got to take responsibility for where I am, yep. And also the responsibility of getting myself to where, you know, I'm trying to be. All of that is going to be on me. Now, here's the thing that I put into motion after coming to that place. I just asked God to help me. I did. It might sound corny. A lot of cats are like, I ain't doing all of that, Dave. Come on, man, miss me with all of that. Got on my knees and just, Father, help me. Just I don't know what to do. I don't know how this is gonna work. I don't have the money. I don't have the resources. I don't know nobody. How can I move from this to where it is that I'm trying to get to? And true story, Pastor Chuck. I interviewed for the spot at SC. I got in. They told me I got in. But here's the thing. In order to hold your seat in the program, there was a $2,000 deposit that you had to come up with, right? To just hold your place for the next class, for the following semester.
USC money, okay.
USC money, right.
Chump change.
And they're not playing, right. They're not playing at all. Right. So check out what I did. True story. I was so depressed when I got this great news, and I'm like, I don't even know anybody that I could go and fix my mouth to ask for $2,000, right? And the silly person that I am, the pride, the man in me was like, I'm not gonna go and ask Pastor Chuck, could you loan me $100 and let's go ask 20 people in the church. And here's the thing. I honestly believe if I did that, I would have had the money like that. I know I would have. I know that there were 20 people in Hope's house that would have gave me $100 and I would have had the money. I know it, like I know my name. But here's what I did. I'm depressed. I'm in my feelings. I go across the street. I'm working at the Crate and Barrel on Victory and Topanga. I go across the street into the mall. I'm near tears. I just needed to walk around and like process all of that. I go into the Banana Republic. It was a sister that was working there, and she came up to me and she was like, sir, can I help you with anything? And I was like, no, sister, I'm just kind of looking around. And she said, well, could you do me a favor? Would you fill out this credit card application for me? I was like, sis, I got enough problems with credit cards. I'm struggling. I can't, I ain't gonna, it would literally be a waste of my time, your time. She was like, look, whether you get approved or not, that's neither here nor there, and it's not my business. But they are on my head about just getting people to fill out the paperwork. You would be doing me a favor,
right?
If you just fill the thing out.
Free, yeah.
I fill the thing out, Pastor Chuck. I give it to her. I keep walking around the store. I finally get to a place where, I'm like, let me just go ahead because I got to figure out how I can get this money. What do I need to do to pull this money together? I'm about to walk out of the store. The sister's like, sir, could you come here for a second? I come back over to the cash register. She tells me, you were approved. Pastor Chuck, guess how much the limit was on the credit card that I just got approved for?
Let me guess.
$2,000. Exactly.
Are you kidding me?
$2,000 on the button. I cried like a baby right there on the spot. You know why? Because there were a couple of things. So the bigger picture of it was that here I am in this low paying job. But what I didn't realize was happening was that my beautiful wife was taking the little bit of money that we were making and bringing into the house, and she was paying the minimum on all of our credit cards, right? And she taking that little bit of money, but with consistency, she was paying off everything. Like, paying, the balance wasn't really doing much to tick down.
Yeah, the track record though.
But the track record, right? And the credit was building and improving unbeknownst to me.
Right.
So when I got approved for the card and I went home and I told Tiffany what had happened, she explained to me what she had been doing. And she said, yeah, David, your credit is much better than it was 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever, And I knew, like I said, the moment that the woman told me that I got approved for the card, I said, that's nothing but God. That's nothing but it was almost like he let me kind of flounder
in the wind.
Yeah, just let me just dangle in the wind and then just hit me with boom.
Oh, wow.
Here, son, go ahead. I told you I got you. Just go ahead and do what I'm telling you to do. And from that point on, man, it just seemed like just door after door just started opening. And I'm not gonna sit here, Pastor Chuck. I would never do that. You know me. I ain't gonna sit here and say I've been no perfect dude. I ain't gonna sit here and say that I ain't messed up. I ain't gonna sit here and say that, just living life, man, and I'm making mistakes, but I know that he knows where my heart is and what I'm really about and what I'm really trying to do. And I'm a walk in spite of it, right?
Yeah. Let me hit you with this real quick because you got the pathway of education and professionalism pathway, ups and downs there. But you have another story we were talking about before, and I asked you to kind of just share us a little bit. You had some hardships with your daughter.
Yeah.
In the midst of all these ups and downs professionally,
yeah,
and Crate and Barrel, credit issues, trying to get the money for USC as you're trying to move up. Life is still happening, right?
Life is still happening, right?
And so explain the other part, the family part a little bit, and just.
So I'm sitting in class. I'm sitting in class one day, and it was a screenwriting class, and my cell phone just starts blowing up. Just somebody call you, you ignore the call. I'm in class. I can't really deal with that right now. But then it rang again. Then it rang again. Then it rang again. I mean, it just kept. So finally, I step outside. I answer the call. It was Tiffany trying to call me to tell me that. She was calling to tell me that my daughter, Nia, had passed away. Nia was a daughter that I had with a woman from a previous relationship. She was 10 years old, and I carry a sickle cell trait. Her mother carries a sickle cell trait. Nia was born with full-on sickle cell. When I got the news that Nia had died, I think I just sort of checked out, for a minute. I was numb and just really just in complete disbelief at what, I had just heard. I don't even remember how I got home, but I ended up getting home. And what I remember was, I remember being kind of balled up on the floor, and I remember Chucky coming in and basically just holding me, and I cried like a baby. I really did. But once again, my church was there, like right on the spot, and because I'm working at Crate and Barrel, and because we ain't got no money and the whole nine, all of that, and we are in Los Angeles, and my daughter was in Mississippi, and we didn't have insurance, and first of all, now we have to not move, but get from LA to Mississippi, which requires money. And we got to figure out where we gonna stay while we there, which requires more money. And I don't want to make this all about money, but that's just what the reality of it was. And it was money that we just didn't have to make moves like that. But once again, through, God said, look, man, this is what a way was made for us to go. Our church contributed a lot to get us there. I have friends who flew in because when they heard the news, they flew in for the services and the whole nine of all of that. And when the whole thing with the insurance kind of came down, and we're sitting in front of the funeral director trying to figure out how to bury my daughter, envelopes just started just coming. Just, Dave, here. I'm opening up my book bag, and there's people then stuck. And I say all of that to say, a lot of times we feel like we are so alone, and we so isolated, and we so desolate, but there are so many people that love us, and what I do know, and what I've come to learn, is that God uses us to be his hands and his feet, and he moves through us to do his will. That's how all of that works. And I never felt more loved. And I think even in that moment, like the grief and the anger and all of that, and even the disconnect from the church and God came after that. But in the moment, right, I had never felt more of God's hug, if that means something. I mean, you know what I mean? Just for lack of a better comparison, his hug, than when, we were, laying my daughter to rest, because so many things happened that, like I said, I had no idea. I could barely form a sentence, let alone figure out how we were going to do X, Y, and Z. And but it all got done. And again, just life was happening while I was trying to, be on my road to some other stuff. Yeah.
Trying to be a success, right?
Trying. Yeah.
And life happens. And one of the things I wanted to bring out in these conversations, obviously the aspect of faith is a part of it. And here's the crazy thing, and I'll testify along with you. My faith has always been perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
We hear these stories from the Bible, like so and so stood out in faith and God moved. Like most time, we like flailing, acting fool, off base, disconnected, and God's telling like, "I got you covered." Like that's the mercy and grace, and I take it every day.
Every day, man. I'll take it every day. I'll take it.
So as much as a person such as yourself has a drive and ambition and desire to move forward and excel in his career, those other things are still there present, right? Weaknesses, failings, the insecurities, the fears, the uncertainties, and thank God for a good wife. I got a wife like yours that like she puts stuff away, I don't even know what it is. And next thing
exactly.
So give me a little bit of background, and thank you for that. That's the transparency is I hope it helps somebody because this is where we live. It's where we live. What was the spark for you to say I want to be a writer or actor or whatever? Because I know I first saw you in the barbershop, the little shorts. Come on, man, get the haircut. I'm like, okay, he gonna be an actor. Boom. And truth be told, I had lost track of your acting career. I know you had some parts in different shows, The Shield and stuff like that. I didn't know. But so I'm glad you were still at least making some coin, in the process. But at the same time, I'm thinking he'd be an actor. Cool. But the next thing he's writing and HBO and the whole bit, and that's like, did he go a different direction for you, or did you plan to be that? Or?
Like I said, PC, you tell God what you want to do. He's gonna say, okay, kind of giggle at you and say, all right, I got something else for you. I heard Robin Roberts say this, but it's really been my life, for real. He's never told me no, right? He's never said no to me. He said, not now. I got something better for you. You know what I mean? Or whatever it was has happened, right? The writing came, PC, because I was frustrated as an actor with the roles that I was being called in to audition for.
Right.
I was like, this is craziness. I mean, I can do more than this. A lot more. And I also felt like, when I was a cop in Chicago for 6 years, I used to write poetry. I used to write stories. I used to write little observations, because as a cop, you really just watch people all the time, and I became fascinated with why people do the things that they do, what motivates people to do what they do, right? And when you as a cop, you spend a lot of your time literally just riding around, just kind of watching people, and I would fill in like people's backstories, and man, I wonder how that dude ended up. You see a dude, and you look and you see like this keloid bullet wound on his neck, right? And you like, man, I wonder what that was. How did it get to that you get shot? And what is your life like now that like an inch this way,
right?
You wouldn't even be here now. You know what I mean? What is that about? So again, man, the acting is the passion. It is still the passion. But I honestly, Pastor Chuck, I feel like I have to be obedient to where God has me now. And even we talked earlier before, we turned, the recording on, we were talking about just the struggle and the discomfort and being in places where you're not really certain or sure. I'm being stretched, man. It's like going to the gym. You know what I mean? The first time you get up under some weight that you haven't really pushed before, it's a struggle, right? And you're going to hurt and you'll be sore for the next, few days. But here's the thing. If you keep getting under that weight and you keep pushing it every day, you get a little bit stronger. It gets a little bit easier to get up off the bar, down on your chest, and then back up. You know what I mean? So that's sort of like where, I am now. And I feel like what's probably going to end up happening, the writing and producing is giving me the education in the business and informing my acting. right? So I'm working in this lane and in this capacity, but I really feel like it's just going to make me a better actor when I get back, in front of the camera. That's going to happen. Okay. But again, remember the affirmation. By God's grace and mercy, I am writing, producing, directing, and acting in. Mm. I'm going to do all of it. I'm going to do all of it. And right now, I'm focusing on the other aspects that I didn't really have as much experience in. Yeah. And I know that one day what will happen in His time, it's all going to come back together, and I'll be able to do exactly that. It's coming. I feel it. I know it's coming. I'll get back. Yeah.
Like so many people, you're sharpening a certain set of tools you have.
Yep.
For another situation.
Yep.
I made a comment to someone the other day that I would see these guys in these sitcoms, like say the guy on Seinfeld, Jason, the little guy, bald head guy.
Yeah, Jason Alexander. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, he's a comic, he's a comedian, the funny guy on the show, but these guys got some depth of background in other areas, man.
Oh yeah.
I mean, whether opera singing, whether it's crazy stage stuff, man.
Yeah.
But we know them on a small slice of their skill set,
Yeah.
And they made some bread and butter on a small slice of skill set, but they ain't all they are. It's not all they want to do. And you're no different. The barbershop slice is one slice, the shield slice is a slice, the writing slice is one slice, and here's the crazy thing. You said I'm under the weights. I'm being stretched right now. I can't imagine what the future holds. I'm like, wow.
Right.
I'm impressed with what God has done so far. And
right.
My mind is blown. Lord, if you stop right now, we good.
Right. Right. Right.
But it goes to the scripture. He can do exceedingly abundantly, far beyond all we can ask or think. And so you wrote it down. You declared it and confessed it. Yep. But God, like, I see you. I'm gonna raise you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm with that, man. I love it. I love it. Thank you. I'm inspired. So there's more for me too as I'm being stretched.
And man, and look, and it's more for all of us, Pastor Chuck, because again, like I said, man, I give you your props every opportunity I get, right? Because like I said, I know the shape that I showed up in when I first walked into the doors of Hope's house. And I know that the care and the love that I got and that my family got, it made me a better person, and it made me a better man, a better father, a better brother, and it moved me down, a path, man. Like I said, it was something about the two things. Once again, making a choice, realizing in the choice that I might not be equipped to do what it is. And I knew the source to go get the help from, to go ask for the help. And I asked for the help. You know what I mean? Father, help me. That's literally where it started. I wasn't no big praying dude. My grandfather could pray for hours. And, he was just that dude. Like, I felt like he had God on speed dial, like literally. It was like that. So I was never that dude. But for David, I would talk to him the same way that whatever I'm feeling, I realized it didn't have to be no filter, and it didn't have to be all pretty and, all of that. And it just didn't. It just had to be genuine, and it had to be pure, and it had to be real, and it had to be rooted in something. I was in the car one day with Spencer, Pastor Chuck. I was working at Crate and Barrel. Spencer asked me, because she said, Daddy, could you give me a Happy Meal? And it hurt me to my heart that I couldn't buy my baby a $6 Happy Meal.
Man.
And once again, like as a man, you have to look at yourself like, what are you doing that you can't? The baby in the car seat asking me if we can get her a Happy Meal. Happy Meal is $4, $5, or whatever, it is. I didn't have it. And there were moments like that made me say, man, look, you got to do something different, man. I remember my parents struggle, and I remember my grandparents struggle. And I think we as Black people, we got to figure out, there's got to be a place in the lineage where it stops.
Yes.
And where we do something different right? In order to have, so when my kids come, we setting them up so that they can take it to another level. You know what I mean? And I think that's what it should be, man. But we can't do none of that if we don't first. I'm making the choice. I'm making the decision. It's got to be different. And now I got to be about the business of making it different. And if I don't have what I need, where's the source from which I can gain my help and my strength? And that's God. You know what I mean? And if and it's in that order, Pastor Chuck, or at least for me, it was in that order. You know, figure out what the issue is. Okay, I got to change that. How do I do that? God help me do that. Mm-hmm. And I hate to really like make it just that simple, but for me, it was like once I kind of bought into that, stuff started changing. You know.
Let me ask you this, and we're kind of trying to wrap it up a little bit. I could talk for a long time, and what I want to do is kind of give the guys a teaser, so when you come back to the West Coast one day,
live
with the brothers.
I'll be home eventually.
With the cats who are aspiring to be in your place or do what you do or be in those spaces, entertaining, because it is a tricky business, obviously. And it's got a lot of casualties along the way. In terms of all the things you see him building, the pieces he's putting in place, in your heart, I got your affirmation, which is an amazing affirmation. I might have to steal it from you, modify it a little bit, you know? But what do you think the big picture is for you? What is the big goal, the big dream, and in terms of purpose, ultimate purpose? Do you want to be like, you mentioned being a showrunner, you want to be the Shonda Rhimes, you want to be the Lena Waithe, you want to be Oprah, you want to be, Eastwood, do you want to tell stories? What do you think is where it's headed?
Pastor Chuck, what I want to do, man, is I want to create a platform where I can go and get resources so that I can teach brothers how to build and create content to then move into the market, right? There's so many different platforms out here, and there's so many brothers and sisters with so many different stories, right? But I want to be the dude that another part of the affirmation, PC, is I want to be for the film and television industry what Jay-Z and Sean Combs are for the music industry. Okay. That's what I want. That's what it is for me. And in doing that, like I said, I want to bring other people into this space, and I want them to succeed on a uber high level. I don't want them to just come into the game, and I want them to sustain. I want them to stay, and I want the tentacles to kind of like, you know what I mean? Like we spread and branch, from that. And if I can do that, man, like I said, that for me, parlay that, into a situation where you can go and you can start pulling resources into it so that we can kind of keep it going. Right. That's my plan, man. That's what it's going to be. I'm speaking that into existence. That's what we're doing.
I'm agreeing with you right now, because I believe that's my heart, as you know, with men in general. How can we start winning? Some of us sadly have bad habits, bad upbringings, bad environments that we're in. People that got us off track. But here we are now. We have a chance to turn that thing around. And even some of the younger guys who are just starting out in the industry, they're going to be farther than we are, you are, because they have more resources. And someone like you to kind of pave the way. The lessons you've learned, they ain't got to learn if they listen.
Exactly.
So we want to kind of and create those generational wealth turnovers, legacy, the whole bit, man. So I'm totally with you, man. And I'm in this space right now, and I admire you. And I mentioned Eric Dawkins in our previous conversation, because you guys produce things.
It's my brother.
That touch people.
Yeah.
And even though I'm not writing songs like that or writing films, I feel like it's all men's responsibility to produce something, even if it's just an environment. So my part, I want to create an environment where all this thing you want to make happen can happen. I want to create a space where here's a safe space, here's some cool brothers, let's learn, let's grow, let's mentor, let's educate ourselves, and so we can move the needle forward, man. Because it's not happening by itself, and
right.
The folks out there ain't gonna make it happen for us.
This is true. This
So
is true. This is true,
definitely,
man.
we're gonna do it. I appreciate your positive push. I appreciate your grind. I appreciate seeing you in the transitions, and that's been a pleasure and a blessing. Painful sometimes, but
Yeah.
but the witnessing and to see that you're in a place where you are not just above water, but being able to think about, okay, how can I pull somebody out the water myself?
Yeah.
That's priceless, my brother. That's priceless, man. And for the guys watching or the ladies watching, we're gonna, with these VIP conversations, it's not going to end here. It's designed as a platform so folks can hear it, be aware of it, and say there's a place I can go, people I can connect to, and we're going to share people's Instagram, contact information, whatever, social media information, so they can know where you're at, on the social media, whatever, or understand what the websites are, the TV shows, those type of things. So, with your permission, sir.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Any and everything that I'm doing, Pastor Chuck, like I said, I take it straight back to Hope's house. I can't wait to get up on somebody's, stage in front of a microphone and say it's the greatest church, on the planet. And I'll mean that, because again, I know what it did for me, for my family, and I know the change that's in my life that I'm walking in right now because of that building, because of that place, because of those people. And it's a real thing. And again, before we wrap up, I just genuinely, Pastor Chuck, it can be done. It can be done. If whatever you're struggling with, whatever the issue is, whatever the problem is, I sought God. I asked him to help me, and he helped me. And that's as simple and as plain as I can make it. And the only thing that I can say is that, I wasn't right. I wasn't perfect. It wasn't none of that. I got to wait till I get my life together so I can then go, to God. That's not the way it works. You bring your foulness and dirtiness. You come exactly the way you are because you can't fix it, and again, man, it's just really about allowing that vulnerability. That's the pathway. Your vulnerability and your brokenness is the pathway to which he's gonna come. You know what I mean? That's how he comes. When you got all of this up like this, it's hard for anybody or anything to get to you. But the second that you surrender, when you surrender and just let it go, and whatever it is, it's okay, because it's tough for all of us. Everybody's road, is hard, and there's seasons and peaks and valleys, and you up and you down. But you gotta one foot in front of the other one. And you got to ask the Father to help you and lead you.
Amen. I couldn't have said it better, my brother. Listen, I have been thrilled one to catch you. I know you've been working out of town, and the chance to talk to you.
Yeah, man.
Let's pick up where we left off, more or less,
Yep.
And I'm looking forward to the production. We'll have information about that on the screen as we make the final cuts and everything. Yeah, so Dave, thanks for sharing as a man the transparency, the realness, the ups and downs, challenges, not just saying, hey, everything's beautiful. You didn't give us the red carpet version of your life.
No.
You gave us the backstage unplugged version.
Yeah, man.
You hear that, man, because watching these award shows, watching all these different things, you think it's all that. Yeah. That's just a facade, which Hollywood is good at that, Yeah. But thank you for being real. Because I think guys who are struggling, guys who want to aspire for more, guys who have self-doubt, have some circumstances, they're like, okay, I can relate to this cat because he's keeping it real and he's making it, and he's broken down to the bare minimum. So, ask God for help, stay in community, keep your vision strong, man.
Yep.
And, man. So we're gonna keep it going. So I want to just thank those who had a chance to watch this video. I believe it blessed you, it blessed me. I'm inspired to do some more things, and I'm glad to have an ally like Brother David Shanks, who's, even though we're in different parts of the battle, we're in the battle together. And,
absolutely.
Do some great things, and we want you to do great things too. So listen, stay involved as we have more VIP conversations, and you can be a person that has vision, inspiration, and purpose to inspire somebody else to do the very, very same thing that you're doing. So we'll see you next time, and until that time, God bless. Have a great day.
Much love, PC. Love you, man.
Much love, man. God bless.
Yes, sir.
Hey, folks, listen, we want to thank you for joining us for this week's conversation. And remember, above all things, you don't have to be a celebrity to be a VIP. All you need to do is have a vision, inspire someone, and walk in God-given purpose. And don't forget to share this video with someone and drop us a note or message to let us know how this video was helpful for you. And we will see you soon.